Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and a transfer update this afternoon in one of the biggest and most busy afternoons we've had in a long time. Fasten your seatbelts and welcome to the Members Club Fawood as well. Fasten your seatbelts, we've got loads and loads to talk about. Andy Mitten, who's a good journalist around Manchester United, he has been speaking about Manchester United and Rafael Varane and a potential delay there. We've also just had coming in from TalkSport that United are genuinely interested in Ruben Neves and have moved ahead of Arsenal in a 35 million deal. Also in the last few minutes, Christian Falk has come out, a German correspondent. We've had him on the show before. He has confirmed United's interest in Goretzka. We've also had Riola talking about PSG and Pogba, apparently. It's not a direct quote, as well as a few other things as well. So we've got to try and cover absolutely everything here because it's all going off effectively. It's all going off and it's all very exciting. I mean, I don't know really where to start. I mean, I want to talk about the Varane transfer delay. I suppose that's important in a certain way, but I wouldn't rank it as important as the Neves news that's coming in. So we'll talk about Varane transfer delay in a minute. I don't think it means the deal's going to not happen, but it just could take a little bit of time. But let's start off with this first opening story then. This is coming in from TalkSport. Talk shit, some people would say. I mean, look, to be honest with you, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. They do get people to pay to come on their calls and queue them up. So, and they do like a stupid headline, whether it's from Jordan or whoever else. And I don't mean Jordan, I mean Simon Jordan. Although you could say they're both a pair of tits. Manchester United are definitely interested in Ruben Neves, and Bruno Fernandes is actively trying to push him to Old Trafford. United wants a midfielder, regardless of Pogba's future, and Houssem Aouar is another player United are looking at. So this is from Alex Crook via TalkSport, that Manchester United want Ruben Neves, and Bruno Fernandes is actively trying to push that deal. Manchester United have also moved ahead of Arsenal in the race to sign Ruben Neves. Wolves are willing to sell the Portugal international for a fee of 35 million quid. So look, this will be music to the ears of a lot of you. It could be classic Kanye West, or it could be classic Atomic Kitten, or whatever takes your fancy. But it's music to your ears, I know, because I know a lot of you like Ruben Neves. What I would say about Ruben Neves is that I wouldn't take TalkSport as a good source for a start. I wouldn't. However, it's not the first time I've heard about Ruben Neves this summer, and I think Wolves are actively trying to sell Ruben Neves. And I think for £35 million, you're getting a very good deal there. He's only just 24. I think he was 24 in April. He's Premier League proven. He's definitely a centre defensive midfielder, and people will say again, he's not a CDM, he's a centre midfielder. He can hold the midfield. His best attributes are long shots, positional sense, tackling and passing. He can definitely do that role. Do I think Bruno Fernandes is telling Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who to sign? I doubt it. Do I think Bruno Fernandes would vouch for Ruben Neves? Yes, I do, because I think he probably sees a player there that he could link up well with. Do I think that Ruben Neves would be a welcome addition to this team? Well, to be honest with you, there's quite a lot of midfield. It's difficult for me to answer that, and I'm sure it's difficult for you to answer that, because there's quite a lot of midfielders that I would say would be an improvement on McTominay and Fred. There's a lot of midfielders. James Ward-Prowse would be an improvement on them. You could probably think of loads, but Ruben Neves would definitely be an enhancement on what we've got, and he's certainly somebody that, again, a little bit like Basuma, a little bit like Saul Niguez, that, there probably are a little bit more centre midfielders, but they could definitely be a holding midfielder. And I do think, I've been wanting to say this for a while. Just before I do, Aram's just super chat. I'll be honest with you, Mark, I don't have faith we are buying 3 players. We haven't even got Sancho over the line. We're taking ages on everything. Bit of negativity there, Aram. How can we beat Arsenal off the field when we can't even beat them on the field for years now? Also, Arteta has a great pull, says Bubby, talking out his arse. And other sources saying it's also, but we are going to bid way under 35 million asking price. I wouldn't say this news breaking means Donny is going, says Sean Turner. I don't know. I don't think it means Donny's going to go, to be honest with you, because obviously there's a big uncertainty over Paul Pogba. So FPL Giant says that Neves is not United quality. The one thing I wanted to bring in, because one thing that we always get when we talk about Saul Niguez or Basuma or now Ruben Neves or Goretzka, people start saying they're not a specialist CDM. And I'm like, are we not getting a little bit hung up on this? Specialist CDM. Right. Well, especially CDM is basically somebody who's a centre midfielder who just plays a little bit deeper. That tends to be it. There won't be many players that were, at 18 a specialist CDM and are still a specialist CDM at 26. Most people will have the ability to play CDM and centre midfielder if you've got the attributes to do it. The problem is McTominay and Fred may well be centre midfielders, but they don't really have the attributes of a centre defensive midfielder. I don't think they've got the discipline, the positional sense, the speed, or the ball control to do it. Ruben Neves has, I think Basuma has, and Goretzka definitely has, and Saul Niguez has as well. So I think Ruben Neves could definitely do this role. Do I think that we're in for him? We'll have to wait and see. But that's the latest coming out of Talk Sport. Take it with a pinch of salt. That Manchester United are ahead of Arsenal in the race for Ruben Neves, and that Wolves are willing to sell him for £35 million. But remember, he could well end up going to Arsenal, and we may never have been in for him. We might just be being used again. Just because we get used by the Portuguese press and the Italian press doesn't mean that we can't be used by the British press. I'd rather take Ward-Prowse over Neves if we are looking at the Premier League, says Paraz. Alien says, you started the specialist CDM needs and all the sheep will follow what you say and think you are the influencer. Mate, you are so bitter. You are so bitter. I can taste them lemons from here. Why are you watching this show? What are you talking about? I said especially... Mate, specialist centre defence midfielders have been around for a long, long time. A very, very long time. Probably back to the 60s. Probably even further back than that. What are you on about that I've invented the CDM thing to influence people? I'm not the bloody Pied Piper. What are you on about? Bloody get out in the sun and enjoy your life. Get off the stream and stop talking shit. So yeah, Ruben Neves, Talk Sport. Let's see what happens with that one. The next story I want to talk about Goretzka. But I want to talk about Rafael Varane first. So Christian Falk has basically confirmed the Goretzka story from this morning. More in-depth conversation about Goretzka is on this morning's show, but I will come back to it. But let me just talk to you about Rafael Varane. So Andy Mitten is a Manchester-based... I don't know whether he's based in Manchester, but he's a Manchester journalist, Mancunian journalist, who is... He's on the press conferences a lot, does a lot of travelling around, and very good journalist. And he has been writing about Manchester United today. And what he has said is that Manchester United and Real Madrid have had no direct contact, and that personal terms with Rafael Varane, whilst are being negotiated, aren't actually completed yet. Therefore, Varane delay ? Which is what we've put in the chat and on the thumbnail. I'm not going to discredit what's been said by Andy Mitten there, because he has been right about things, he has been wrong about things, as have other people. But I don't think... I put it out there because it's news, and you can't ignore news just because you don't want it to be what you want it to be. But what I would say is that could be a week old. That almost feels like it's a week old, that information. And I know he's tweeted it today, but it doesn't feel right. It feels a little bit old, because we had Fabrizio Romano on the show 2 days ago. We had him a week ago, and he said personal terms are not an issue. We've also been told for a few days now that Manchester United and Real Madrid are in direct contact and they are sorting out a fee. I'm not going to say who's right and wrong here, but I'm going to tell you this. As far as I know from numerous different people, and it's also out there publicly, United have agreed personal terms with Varane, although you can never say they're officially done because you can't sign them off until the deal's done with the club. But what I know is that, and what I've been told is that United have agreed personal terms with the player, because this is why he wants to leave Real Madrid, because our personal terms are better than what Real Madrid are offering. They don't get signed off until the deal's done, but they're agreed. In relation to Real Madrid, we have made contact with Real Madrid. We're not sitting here going, let's agree terms with Varane. It doesn't... Basically... So what are we to believe? That we're still negotiating with Varane and we've never spoken to Real Madrid? Well, he's going back in training on Friday then. And Real Madrid are like, well, he's our player. I feel it's moved on away from that. Real Madrid have accepted that Varane's going, and the deal is to be sorted out for the fee. Now, whether there's a bigger picture here and I mentioned this morning, whether this is going to be delayed for a few more days or maybe a week, I don't know. We might get something later today. We might get something tomorrow. We might get something Friday. It might be a week. But it's definitely far more advanced than I think Andy is saying there. But look, maybe in respect to that article that Andy Mitten's put out, maybe he's being briefed there by the club. Maybe that's coming from the club. Maybe the club are lowering the expectations about how quick this is going to happen. Because I don't know, but my theory is that story is probably sourced well. Those sources may be from the club, and Manchester United Football Club are slowing this deal down because there's a feeling it's going to happen this week, and it's not going to happen this week. So maybe that's what this is all about. I don't agree that personal terms haven't been sorted. I don't agree that we aren't talking to the club, but I may have to agree with this deal's not actually going to happen today, tomorrow or Friday. Maybe it's going to be a little bit longer because they are struggling to agree on a fee. Maybe that's what's going on with it. But there we go. So ultimately it would be a Varane delay, but I don't think it's going to cause any issues to the deal. And of course, the overarching thing here as well is that fan expectation. Fans are expecting Varane to be signed by the end of the week because that's what the week sort of started off talking about. If United know they're not getting it done by the end of the week, then they need to slow it down. How do you slow it down? You get it into the media. You get old Ashton spinning those plates. You get it out into the media. This deal's not as close as people are talking about, I'm telling you. And that is the sort of thing that will come from the club. When an agent, when a journalist is speaking to United sources and they say, is this deal about to happen? United would say, have got every right to say, well, it's not as advanced as people are talking about. So maybe that's what's happening here. But we will see. So that's on Varane. Christian Falk has spoken about Goretzka in the last half an hour. Now, Christian Falk, again, I feel that a little bit like the CDM thing, I think people get obsessed with credibility in the transfer market. Christian Falk has been very good, but a lot of people think he's not very good. I will always shout out over my experience. It's a bit like Neil Custis in The Sun. Do I like The Sun? God, no. Is Neil Custis been close to United for years? Yes. Does he sometimes get things right? Yes. If he writes an article in The Sun, do I take notice of it? Yes, because he might be right. In the case of Christian Falk, when he says things about German football, I take notice. He was bang on about Haaland going to Dortmund when everyone thought he was coming to United. He was bang on about Bellingham going to Dortmund when everyone thought he was coming to United. And he's been bang on about Upamecano going to Bayern Munich a year before it even happened. So he has got good pedigree in relation to German football. But also, there's Çalhanoğlu stories, there's Sully stories and things like that don't come to pass. So what he's saying about Goretzka is, and he's confirmed that Manchester United have spoken to Goretzka's agents and put a proposal to him, which is what we were discussing about this morning. So yes, Goretzka, Manchester United next summer is a possibility. But on the other hand, it's also a possibility that that interest is very suitable for Goretzka when he's got 1 year left on his deal and he's trying to get a new deal. Would it surprise me if Bayern Munich end up signing Goretzka on a new deal in the next few weeks? No, it wouldn't, because as I said with Ruben Neves, Manchester United's name can be used by a lot of people and always does get used by a lot of people. And it must be infuriating to work for Manchester United's marketing or communications department and read papers every day and go and know you're not in for a player, but you can't deny it because that's not the policy that United normally have. We get Varane, that's the end of McFred, says Sean Turner. And if we get Neves, I'd love us to play a midfield three of Neves, Donny and Bruno, says Sean Turner. I mean, look, you know what? Life after Pogba, that wouldn't look too bad to me. Neves, Van der Beek and Bruno as a midfield three, I can live with that. I think it would work very, very well. I think we'd become a better... I mean, you imagine, right? You've got Varane and Maguire as your centre-backs. You've got Neves, Van der Beek and Bruno as your midfield three. You've got Sancho to the right, Cavani up front, and then Rashford off the left, or Martial off the left, or Greenwood up front. Options, but also you've got a team full of footballers. You've removed McTominay and Fred, who don't move the ball quick enough, for players who know how to move the ball quicker. Then you've got attackers who know what to do with the ball. United overnight would become a much better footballing side if you had Neves, Van der Beek and Bruno as your midfield three, or Neves, Pogba and Bruno as your midfield three. Definitely. Thoughts on PSG including a player such as Danilo for Pogba's deal, says Ahmad. I mean, I did want to bring this in because there was something I missed this morning. I mean, it wasn't even the headline story this morning, so it's fine to bring it in here. We were talking about PSG's interest in Paul Pogba, and there was a couple of things that I actually missed because Mino Raiola was actually trending on social media this morning, and that was because the story that about Paul Pogba in the Daily Mail was saying that Mino Raiola is actively trying to sort of move to PSG for Paul Pogba. So a lot of people not happy with Mino Raiola. At the end of the day, why would you not be happy with Mino Raiola? There's plenty of reasons not to be happy with Mino Raiola, but to be fair to him, he is Paul Pogba's agent, and the last we heard, Paul Pogba wants to leave. So Mino Raiola doing his job is Mino Raiola doing his job. There's a feeling that there's a sweet spot with Paul Pogba. There is a feeling that there is a sweet spot with Paul Pogba, and that sweet spot is about £50 million. So we will see what happens with that, with Paul Pogba and PSG. I personally don't think anything's going to happen with it, but, you know, if it's going to happen, it's going to have to start vocally happening very, very soon, because if you have this situation whereby he wants to go, Paul Pogba, then it's going to have to move very, 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 very fast indeed. Apparently there's an update on Varane, which I'm just trying to find for you now. But let's have a look if I can find it for you. Madrid. If somebody has the Twitter account of the one they want me to check, I can have a look at it, because nobody's on it at the moment. Nobody's picked it up, although you lot have in the chat, which is interesting. So I can't give you the update at the moment. What is your updated percentage on Varane, says Luke. I'm still up at 90%. Yeah, I'm still up at 90%. Shay says that someone tweeted a Varane sign and an airplane next to it. That's not going to be Varane flying to Manchester, mate. You don't fly to Manchester until you've got a deal done with Real Madrid, and we don't have that at the moment. Right now, we don't have that. Okay, so I think we might have. No, that's not what we're looking at. No, I can't find whatever anybody was on about there. So I can't find anything updated on there. Mark, we are not Bagel FC. We are Donut FC because we've got donuts running the club, says Devansh. And Alaba wants to play with him. Madrid Extra. Let me have a look if Madrid Extra have got anything. They didn't last time I checked, but we might be hot off the press here. So let's see if they do. No, they're just talking about David Alaba, mate. So there's nothing there. It's all about David Alaba for Madrid today. They're focusing on incomings, not outgoings. So what are your thoughts, everyone? We're live here. We've had a few breaking news stories coming out at the moment. Manchester United, not a great source at the moment. Ruben Neves. I mean, you need better than that. You need better than TalkSport for Ruben Neves. But Ruben Neves, apparently a player that Manchester United are looking at for £35 million. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I do like Ruben Neves, and I certainly think he'd be exciting, far more exciting than McTominay or Fred in that midfield role. So I do like that. More defensive minded as well. So I think he would work well. Goretzka interest has been confirmed by Christian Falk, but remember, if you watched the show this morning, that's about being next summer. And then the Varane story from Andy Mitten saying that personal terms are not completed and there's no direct contract with Real Madrid. I think that story is basically about delaying tactics. I think that is probably well sourced, but it's probably about lowering expectations about the deal happening this week. Because as I said, I don't agree with the content of the story. I think the personal terms are not a problem, and I think we are in contact with Real Madrid. But we've got this update here. I think we've got it now. Let me just get this update whilst we are live on air. I should be able to get it for you now. It's always nice when you're live. No, that's not going to work either. People keep giving me the name of this person, but it's not coming in as a tweet, which is annoying. No, I'm not getting it. That is not coming in. You need to give me the actual tweet address so I can read the tweet. I ain't taking it off a fucking live chat. We've been down that road before. So if you don't have the Twitter account, then I can't update you with what is going on. So we'll go back to the chat. Let's see if we can get it off this. This is great fun. No, I'm getting some bloody politician or something like that. I ain't getting anything of any use here. Marcus Rojo, everything about Rojo. TalkSport are really pushing this Ruben Neves story. Good for them. Madrid people just interested in the Alaba story, of course. Getting hot now. God, everyone's really slow on this one. I mean, I'm sure it'll come out at some point, but everybody's really slow with it. If someone tells me Jose Felix Diaz again, I will kick the fucking screen. Like, you type Jose Felix Diaz into Twitter, you get some blue tick bloke talking about humanitarian needs. There is nothing under that. Give me the fucking Twitter and I'll have a look at it. Don't tell me a name that I've been typing in for the last 2 minutes. It's not hard to type it in. The bloody Twitter feed, not the bloody name, you tossers. Oh, absolute idiots in the chat. Violation. Absolute violation. Idiots. Idiots in the chat. Type in Jose Felix Diaz into your thing right now and see what you get. You'll get a blue tick and he's talking about humanitarian issues. He is not talking about signing players. Bloody idiots. I mean, that is... We get infiltrated by idiots in this place. Right. Marker. Here we go. I think we found it now. Well, what's that meant to mean? So, all that, right? He says, Man United to Real Madrid, Rafael Varane, no plane, plus dollars. All right. So basically, all that stress is because somebody from Marker has said that United will have to pay money for Varane. That was worth it. That was worth stunting the show. That was really worth it. That was. Thanks for that in the chat. You've surpassed yourself for knobheadism again. We've all just been waiting for this update that nobody wants to, everyone was waiting for, and basically Jose Felix Diaz has never had such a big shout out in his life, and basically he's taking the piss on Twitter by putting a money sign, Manchester United, Rafael Varane, no aeroplane, which basically means United need to pay what Real Madrid want to get Varane, which we've known about for about 3 days now. So there you go. But as I said, it looks to me like the club, Manchester United, and I don't have this actually factually, but it looks like this is being put out there to lower expectations about a deal happening this week. I would be surprised if we are going to sign Varane in the next 24 hours now, because it feels like the handbrake is being put on. Not in relation to percentage-wise of the deal happening, but it just feels like Andy Mitten's well connected at Manchester United Football Club. He's on every press conference. If he's saying that United have not been in direct contact and personal terms haven't been sorted, when everybody else is saying it has, it just feels like, why would he say that? Well, it feels like to me United are just saying, whoa, let's just hold this back a bit. Let's just hold it back a bit. This is not going to be a deal that's done and sealed by the end of the week. And if it is done by the end of the week, maybe they're putting a handbrake on it so that it's a nice surprise. But I'll tell you what, Manchester United, you don't need to put the handbrake on. Just get the deal done. Because if you get this deal done this side of Christmas, everyone will be very happy. Get it done by this side of the Leeds game, we'll be ecstatic. Get it done by the end of the week, we'll applaud you. It's a fantastic deal. Get it done. Let's move on. But please, 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 don't be arguing and bartering the price down. If Real Madrid want 50 million and they won't go below it, you're getting a fantastic deal. Rafael Varane for £42 million at 28 with everything he's won is amazing. If 50 million euros is a fee you don't want to pay because you think you're being mugged off, you're not being mugged off. Get it done. Get the deal done. Sancho as the number 16. Has that been confirmed by anybody now? I don't know. That was, yes. Also, just very, very quickly, Jadon Sancho as the number 16 shirt has been mentioned by Andy Mitten as well. But he also said it could still be number 7 shirt. I'm going to stand by what I was told. I was told it's going to be a number 7. So we'll see what happens with that. But we still don't know when Jadon Sancho is going to get announced. I mean, Sancho wearing the Roy Keane and Michael Carrick shirts, number 16. I don't know about that. Andy Mitten did mention it would be 16 or 7. I think it will be 7, to be fair. And we know that Cavani was wearing the number 7, but that could have been very, very old. Alaba's getting the number 4 shirt at Real Madrid, but Varane wears number 5. It was Ramos who won number 4, so there you go. Anyway, updates on Neves, updates on Goretzka, updates on Varane. Looking like slowing down a little bit with Varane, but I'm still thinking this deal will very much happen. And of course, we'll be live at 8 o'clock. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It was an eventful show towards the end, but we got there in the end. Biggest shout out for Jose Felix Diaz, or whatever he's bloody called, and his cryptic, crappy tweets that we had to wait about 5 minutes to find out where he was. What's your percentage? 1 to 100% that Neves signs, says Samuel Harrison. What, based on Talk Sport saying we're getting Ruben Neves? What's my percentage? 5%. Then they're not a credible outlet. We need it to come from better than that. So I don't believe it. Thanks everyone for watching. Spank you for watching. No, we're not doing any of that. Thank you for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. We're back at 8 o'clock. Lots of news going on at the moment. It's hot outside. It's hot around Manchester United. Speak to you in a bit.